Hey everyone, this is Brian with OBEDIA, and my friends at Lexicon Pro have asked me to take a look at some of the plugins in their PCM native Reverb plugin bundle. This is an awesome bundle that's available for both Mac and PC in RTAS, VST, and audio unit formats, so it should work in just about any digital audio workstation that you're making use of in your studio or at home. And today I'm going to be talking about the Concert Hall Reverb plugin, which is part of this bundle. And I'm just going to dive in. I'm going to show you guys some of the features of the plugin, how it works, play a little bit of audio for you, and we'll just talk in depth about some of the controls in this great plugin. So let's go ahead and open up the interface and get started. The Lexicon Concert Hall Reverb plugin is an updated version of one of Lexicon's oldest algorithms. It was an essential part of many of the mixes in the late 70s and 80s. It's a less dense reverb, which allows it to add lushness to a mix without stepping on the dry source material, so you can get a nice mix between your wet and your dry signal using this plugin. It has a very noticeable modulation, which causes strong pitch effects at higher settings, and the reverb tail definitely has a life of its own, which is very desirable in a lot of pop music, and less so in jazz or classical applications, but you may find that that may work differently for you depending on the type of music that you are working with. So I have the interface open for the Lexicon Concert Hall plugin right here, and let's just start talking about the interface a little bit. On the top left-hand corner, we're going to see the name of the algorithm that we're currently working with, and this is also going to be reflected in the center of the console in the real-time display section, but this is also figuring that you're not going to be using the real-time display, which you more than likely will be. We'll talk a little bit more in depth about that in just a few moments here. On top of the plugin, we have our category pull-down menu, and if we click on this, we're going to see all of the different categories of which we can choose from in the plugin. We have rooms and small halls, medium halls, large halls, effects, and if we have saved any user presets, our user presets will be immediately available to us here as a category as well, which is very useful because this way you have quick access to your user presets. Nice quick access for mixing. In the presets pull down, these presets will change based on which of the categories we are currently working with, and we can just simply scroll down and choose a new preset from a number of great presets designed by Lexicon for this plugin specifically. On the right-hand side of the plugin, we have the EQ, and the EQ, very simple, very straightforward, and easy to use. The pull-down menu lets us choose from the different types of EQ which we can assign to this plugin. You're also going to notice in the center you have a graphical interface which is going to allow you to see the changes that you make to the parameters of the EQ. And here on the right-hand side, you're going to see the early and the late buttons. Depending on which section you are editing, by pressing the early or the late button, you will affect different parts of the reverb's sound using the equalizer. If the early button is selected, it will include reflections, direct echo outputs, and room patterns, and if you select late, that will include the reverb tail. So this is how you can dial in the EQ for the plugin a little more directly. Taking a look at the left-hand side of the plugin, we have our input and output meters, of course useful for being able to keep an eye on our incoming outgoing signal, and here in the center, as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, we have the real-time display. Now, if we click on the real-time display with our mouse, we have the choice between three different real-time displays. That's the multiband, the frequency, and the impulse display. All of these will become active when we are playing some audio through the plugin. Real useful way to be able to mix a bit with your eyes. Of course, your ears are always going to end up being your most useful tool when you are mixing, but it's nice to have a graphical representation of what you are mixing as well. On the bottom half of the plugin, we have the fader section. Fader section is going to give us quick access to a number of parameters in the plugin, all quickly editable, and we will talk a little more in depth about the fader section later on and how you can customize it to your own liking and match your mix style much more closely. So that said, I know you guys very much want to hear what this plugin sounds like, so let's go ahead and play an audio sample. I have the plugin currently bypassed, and I'm going to play. I thought that some piano would be very fitting, considering that we're working with a Concert Hall Reverb plugin right here. A little bit of piano, and so I'm going to play some piano recorded dry, and after that we're going to listen to some sound samples played through the plugin. So here we go. So obviously with the piano, we already have a lot of reverb going on, and that's because, of course, a piano is always going to have a lot of sympathetic tones when it is being played, but it's nice to be able to add a little bit of color to that recording overall. So let's unbypass the concert hall plugin, and let's start off with the rooms and small halls category, and let's just find a couple different presets to try out here. So that's a bedroom preset, definitely a little bit tight, obviously a small room. Let's choose another small room here. You're also going to notice that we have a lot of different choices with respect to our presets, which will match some of the various instruments which we may be recording. There are a number of vocal presets, so very useful if you are recording vocals. In this case, I'm going to give a try to the short and fat preset right here. So you can hear that nice tail on this Concert Hall Reverb plugin, and that tail, as I was mentioning earlier, may not always be desirable in some forms of music, but depending on what it is that you've recorded, you may find this very useful for your own style. And again, I'm making use of the real-time display in the center of the plugin, and also making some quick changes to my reverb settings by just grabbing hold of some of the faders down here in the bottom half of the plugin. So quick and easy ways to make edits and keep an eye on your mix right there, making use of the Concert Hall plugin. Let's select a medium hall and try out a different medium hall preset here. I'm going to, let's make use of a jazz room preset. See how that sounds. So you can hear also that as I make changes to the mix fader, I'm really able to keep the character of my original dry signal, which I have recorded, and yet still introduce some of that great reverb sound into the mix. So very quick and easy way to be able to dial in my wet and dry signal using the Concert Hall plugin right here. Now again, let's go ahead and try another preset. We're going to move into the large halls, and let's just start with the aptly named Concert Hall preset. Again, you can really hear that tail on this plugin. You really can hear that tail coming in when I stop playing my audio or in different passages from transients. And again, this is really actually quite nice, especially on instruments such as piano, because it gives a great space to the instrument. Let's move on and try out some of the effect presets. Now, each of these is going to be a different effect. And so this may be desirable depending on what you might be working on in your mix, or you may find that you're going to gravitate more towards the actual presets which are modeled after hall sizes. But in this case, let's go ahead and just try out one of these effect presets. I'm going to try out the head cold, and we'll see what it sounds like. So you can hear very dense right there. Let's try another preset. nice sort of bouncing, strange sound going on there in the rubber band preset. So you can see that there are even a number of presets which are going to allow you to access different effects inside of the Concert Hall plugin, so you're not only relegated to making use of small halls and medium halls and etc. You can actually make use of this plugin as an effect in order to add interesting effects to your mix. So there's some audio samples for you guys. Let's go ahead and just talk real quickly about the fader section that I've obviously been giving a little bit of attention here. The fader section of the Lexicon Concert Hall Reverb plugin is quite useful, and that's because initially these 9 faders on the bottom of the plugin are going to give me access to 9 features of the plugin which I would typically want to take control of. And instead of having to click around through many different pages of faders, I can simply have quick access to them. However, let's say that I wanted to change those faders and make them match a little more closely my own mixing style. I can do that by clicking on the Edit button. Now I've entered into the soft row. The soft row encompasses these 9 faders down on the bottom of the plugin, and the reason it's called the soft row is because you're going to notice that if I take a look at one of these labels for my fader, I have the label of the fader, and then just below it in yellow text I have yet again the label of the fader listed. However, if I click on this, this is a pull-down menu. This pull-down menu is going to allow me to scroll through and select many different parameters which I can take control of inside of the plugin. So by simply clicking on one of these, I've now hard-coded that new parameter to this fader. Now, I can also make use of the Compare button to simply click on that button, and this will allow me to switch back and forth between the changes that I've recently made and see if I like those changes or not. So this is a great way to dive in and customize the plugin to exactly your own specifications and to match your own mixing style much more closely. Now you're also going to notice that we have access to a number of other different tabs in the plugin. The first one being the Input and Mix tab. Input and Mix very simply is going to allow us to control the mix and the input settings for this plugin and how it interacts with our incoming audio. We also have the Reverb tab going to allow us to take control of the reverb settings inside of this plugin, and you'll also notice that some of these various faders will have a different option just below the label which will allow you to access, in this case, some different settings for the chorus settings inside of the reverb. If you click on one of these, you will see a pull-down menu, or you can quickly change parameters for that specific feature inside of the plugin. Finally, I have the Reflections tab. Clicking on the Reflections tab will allow me to edit the reflections and the overall sound of this plugin. And again, you're going to notice that I have these small options just below the labels on my faders. Clicking on these will give me different options. In this case, I have absolute and tempo settings for my delay setting, and here for my delay gain setting, I can switch back and forth between inverted and normal settings. So this allows you, again, to very easily customize your mix. All of these different options, of course, culminating back in the soft row, wherein I can make use of these 9 different faders, dial in exactly the parameters I wish to control with the plugin, and really be able to get exactly the type of mix that I'm looking for while using the Lexicon Concert Hall plugin. In summary, if you are looking for a nice concert hall reverb to add to your mixes, the Lexicon Concert Hall Reverb is going to answer that need very easily. Let's go over the interface one more time. Top left-hand corner, we have our algorithm name. This will also be listed in the center console in our real-time display, if we are not making use of the real-time display, of course, while we are mixing. Just above the real-time display, we have our category pull-down and our presets pull-down. These will change from plugin to plugin, and of course your presets will change based on the category which you have currently chosen in the plugin. On the right-hand side, you have your equalizer, allowing you to control many different types of EQ which you can add to the mix, and also giving you quick and easy controls to the equalization settings. Move on to the left-hand side of the plugin, and you'll see the input and output meters, as well, of course, as the real-time display, allowing you to choose between multiband, frequency, and impulse real-time display settings. You also do not need to use these in your mix, but a great way to be able to use your eyes as well as your ears for mixing. Finally, we have the fader section right down here in the bottom half of the plugin, allowing us to click on the Edit button to enter the soft row and edit these 9 faders in order to make them match up exactly to our own mixing style by taking control of parameters inside the plugin, which we would usually access through the various tabs at the bottom of the plugin. When we are done finding exactly the sound that we're looking for, we can click on the Store button and we can save our own presets inside of the Lexicon Concert Hall Reverb plugin, allowing us to recall those presets in later sessions and other digital audio workstations. And there you have it, everyone. I hope that this has been useful to you and that you can start adding some great reverbs to your productions immediately. Please check out our other videos about the other great Lexicon plugins inside of the PCM native Reverb plugin bundle. And until next time, happy music making to you. Take care.